This is Corner Talk.
What's up, y'all? This is Corner Talk, episode 5. We just got done talking about the UFC 326 card. We called some of the fights properly, and some of the other fights we were completely wrong on. But I love the card. All things aside, I thought Charles looked amazing. I know a lot of people thought it was boring, but it is what it is. We're probably going to start off going over the main card for that just because it's too many fights to break down right off the rip. But how's your week going, bro?
It's been a week for me for sure. Had some stuff going on with personal life, but you know, we all have our things going on.
For sure. Well, I'm UFC Pat. That's UFC Zach. We have a pretty good show for you today, and let's get to it. So, UFC 326. What were your thoughts on this match?
I thought it was awesome. The tension, you could feel it in the arena, even just watching it. It was just such a moment, you know, both of them circling each other, not really throwing nothing until, you know, Rodriguez threw the first punch that landed, dropped Pereira. And it was definitely, it's so funny to me because, you know, it was the same way the other last time they fought, but it was on Bruno's side. So, you know, it's definitely, it's funny. It's like, what, did they do it a third time now? I'd watch it.
Yeah, I didn't know how this fight was going to go, honestly. I thought maybe RoboCop was going to be a lot more patient. After that loss to Cannonier, it seemed like that's, you know, something that he's a little worried about. He's a little more cognizant of gassing out and just trying to put guys out right away. Obviously, Jack Hermanson fight, he looked calm, measured, fucking basically murdered him. And then in this fight, it was the same thing. Like, I was a little worried at first because I'm like, man, Bruno is just pushing forward. He's putting Gregory up against the cage, and it just took the first shot to just absolutely flatline him. So it was a good fight. All like 30 seconds that it lasted. But let's move on. We have Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. Thankfully, I called this one perfectly. Dober, you know, the first round, he had Michael Johnson. He kind of let him pressure him, like I was saying that he shouldn't do, because Michael Johnson, he looked super calculated. He was very technical. His jab, he's got really fast hands, so all his combos, you know, they were landing on Dober, and Dober was allowing him to continue to push him up against the cage and, you know, back him up to that line. But then round 2, Dober came out there, was more aggressive, and the first clean shot on the chin flatlined him, put him out. I know the commentary was talking about like he had a dent on his head. Did you see that?
Yeah. I mean, I was looking for the dent. I didn't really see the dent too much. I saw maybe like some stuff here, but like I was like, maybe I'm looking too hard. I didn't actually see a dent, but just the fact that he was saying it had me dying.
Yeah, I did feel bad for Michael Johnson, but hey, he's 39, and you know, the older you get, obviously the chin is one of the first things to go, and I don't really know what's next for him. I don't know if he's going to stay fighting. I know he's like a realtor now in I think Deerfield Beach or something, so he obviously has a good hustle, you know, on the side that he can start focusing on when he does decide to finally hang him up. But unless he wants to be a gatekeeper from here on out, like, I just don't think that there's a lot of interesting fights for him. He's fought a lot of legends at 155, and I don't know, man. I don't know. How'd you feel about it?
I don't know. I felt like, you know, keep him around. Let him keep doing these kind of fights. Because by no means was like, I feel like Drew Dober really on the cusps of contention, really.
Yeah.
I felt like that went out the window with the Hinato loss. But it's like, so he's kind of been a gatekeeper of sorts himself, so to speak. And so it's like, you know, keep Michael Johnson around. Let people have that Michael Johnson test, you know, because as you said, you know, Michael Johnson, he looks clean. He looks good until he gets that first shot. So, you know, but people need to have that adversity, you know, as Zell Huber of sorts. You know, you need to have that moment of reckoning. That's how you get the UFC product as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that You know, he had a little run. He had a couple of wins that he put together, but again, um, his chin is just it's such
Not
a
there.
yeah, it's such like a unfortunate thing because, you know, he does look like he's getting a lot better than when he first came into the UFC. Obviously, he's been around for a long time. I know he gets a lot of good work in at Kill Cliff, but yeah, I don't know, man. But it was a good fight. Congrats to Drew Dober, and let's move on. Now we have Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. Um, I was disappointed in Rob Font in this fight, honestly. As a fellow Puerto Rican, I was rooting for him. I thought that he was going to be able to defend the takedowns. I thought that Rosas might gas after the first, second round. I thought that the third round would definitely be his. And it just seemed like as soon as he got too close, Raul just timed the shots perfectly. He was able to take him down, hold him down. I was disappointed in Raul because Raul did not land a lot of ground and pound. He didn't throw a lot of strikes once he got Rob down. He was just focused on the position, but he pulled off the win, and I guess congrats to him.
I don't know. It's whenever you fight like that, it's surprising to me that you're able to still go on, be such a draw that he's honestly turned out to be. Because it's not just like, oh, I'm winning and people like me because I'm winning. Like he seems like he's popping. It might just be the youth and the potential to be like, I mean, he is on the trajectory to be a champion and break John Jones' record at the rate he's going. But it's like, dude, you're not doing yourself favors fighting like that. Like, how many strikes did he? Says he threw 47. It didn't feel like it at all. 8 significant strikes.
Most of those were in
That
the first
feels,
round too, because in
yeah.
the first
It's like
round,
that's
him and Rob Font were both exchanging for like the first 2 or 3 minutes, I think it was. But then obviously Rob made a mistake. He got too close. Raul snatched the leg, and then the rest of the fight was pretty much just him laying on Rob. But
and that's another thing. I feel like every time I see Rob losing like this, he's just like stuck in half guard, just someone on top of him, and he's just unable to get up and get out. I hate that for him because this was definitely there was huge potential for him to win this fight and capitalize on all that momentum that Raul has.
yeah, for sure. Let's move on. We had Kyle Baralho versus RDR. What did you think about this one?
And I picked last week, said Kaio by decision. I felt like he did a lot of cheating. I felt like I didn't like it. I felt like he kept trying to style, and RDR would get some big shots. I do think Kyle won the fight. I don't think he 30-27'd him.
Mm-hmm.
It was I don't know. I've just Kyle's definitely like the least impressive in my opinion of the fighting nerds. He's been like a decision machine. It's felt like he fights intelligently enough. Is he was able to out scramble RDR a lot of the time. He was he wouldn't get stuck to the fence. It's I didn't like it. It left a bad taste in my mouth personally.
Yeah, I felt like Kaio in his camp preparing for RDR, he knew that RDR is a very forward pressure guy. He wants to overwhelm you with the strikes to disguise his shots and be able to take you down. Kaio obviously studied that and knew that. And I think most of his game plan was to just counter RDR on his way in. Every time that he was landing a big shot on RDR in the first and second round, it was because RDR was walking into it. And he looked great. He rocked RDR multiple times. But you could tell that in the third round, RDR, his pressure was starting to wear on Kaio. And Kaio's gas tank obviously was affected. And it just seemed like the third round, he was just swinging as hard as he could and hoping that he would connect with RDR. And, he showed some good defense every time that they would clinch up and RDR would try to take him down using the cage. Um, I honestly was impressed with Kyle. I thought that he looked great, and I thought that he approached this fight perfectly as far as his game plan goes. And I wish he would have gotten the finish, but RDR is a tough guy. Like if he doesn't gas out, he is hard to put away. And I think it was a great win for Kyle. And like can't ask for much more than that. I'm excited to see who they match Kai up with next. But let's move on to the main event. We have Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. I'll start off on this one. I really thought that Max was going to win by decision, and I thought that if Charles won, it was going to be because he either caught Max and locked something up, or maybe Max hurts him, he falls down, he pulls guard, and he catches Max in something. But this fight actually played out completely opposite. Charles looked amazing on the feet. He was able to just absolutely manhandle Max. He was able to pick him up and take him down in every single round. And then I respected that, it wasn't 10 seconds, it was like 5, but the last 5 seconds he gave Max, his fucking
DMF moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, a lot of people were complaining about it, but he caught Max in that exchange. Like, he hit Max with a big shot. So obviously I'm a huge Charles fan, and I was extremely happy that he won, but it didn't go the way that I thought it would. But yeah, man, congrats to Charles. He's my 155 GOAT. I love watching him fight. And what were your thoughts on this?
Oliveira, he's one of the names that got me into watching UFC first, and yeah, I love that he's always like a very he makes every fight feel like a fight. I just didn't get that this fight. But that's not me knocking Charles at all, because Charles won. He did what he needed to do to win. If anything, I'm harping on Max, because it's like, how do we get it in our heads that like this man was about to fight Habib?
Yeah, I think he dodged a bullet not fighting Khabib.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they gave the guys black belt for letting
losing.
Charles lay on him for 25 minutes. So yeah, I don't know, man.
That's a rough.
And I was extremely disappointed with Max too, because it seemed like he was so focused on defending off of his back and not letting Charles lock anything up or catch him in anything, that he wasn't focused on just getting back up. And I know obviously that's easier said than done, especially with somebody like Charles, but it just seemed like he accepted the position. He just accepted that Charles is going to keep him here, and he just needs to make sure that Charles doesn't choke him out. And that's okay for the first round, for the second round. But when you're looking at 3, 4, 5,
you got to make something happen. Yeah.
You got to get up. You got to swing. I don't know, man. It just seemed like it was Charles's night, and he looked amazing. So
that being said, I don't want this to be a habit. I know he submitted Gamrot that last time out, but other than that, that's how he kind of beat Michael Chandler too. The second time, Charles Oliveira. Yeah, it's I don't know. He's starting to lose that not necessarily danger, but it's like that unpredictability.
He's fighting higher levels of competition though. Obviously, Dustin Poirier is dangerous. Justin Gaethje's dangerous, but they've been hurt before. They've been stopped before. Yes, I did think that Charles could have gotten the finish against Chandler in the second fight, but I also think that he was trying to pace himself, and as explosive as Michael Chandler is, he didn't want to walk into anything. Obviously, Gamrot is a very high-level wrestler, so I felt like he took his time there, and granted, he did get the finish. The fight with Ilya obviously didn't work out for him, but he landed some good shots on Ilya before he got slept. And then it's Max Holloway, also very high-level competition. Nobody's putting Max Holloway away except for Ilya Topuria. So the fact that he's had a couple of decisions lately, I wouldn't say that he's lost his aggressiveness or anything. Yeah, I think it's just that certain matchups, that's how they're going to turn out every time. Maybe on the feet, if him and Max would have stood longer, he could have put Max away by TKO or something. But I don't know, man. I think take the path of least resistance. He's getting older.
No, that's fighting intelligently. It's just I don't know. I don't want him to lose that aura that he did have. Where it was Charlie. you get excited to do Bronx Fight Night.
For sure. But That was UFC 326 main card. It was pretty good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't shit. I would rate it like a B.
Yeah, no, that seems about fair.
At least we got a couple of finishes, some good knockouts. It wasn't a bunch of decisions.
Good nut shots.
Yeah, good nut shots. But let's talk about this week's card. We have uh, starting off Piera Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. We actually have an interview with Piera Rodriguez, but we're going to break this fight down first, and then we will play that. So, how do you think this fight goes?
I think it's probably going to go a lot like the first time. I think that, she's probably already figured out Sam Hughes. Now, Sam Hughes, she has had, she's been on a little bit of a run right now. She's showing some good evolution and whatnot. And I'm sure that she has, because she was winning in the second half of their first fight. I can see her feeling like if I put a pace on her and get it going fast, I can probably change how this fight goes this time, because it was close. But I like the way that Piera mixed it up. I felt like personally watching it, um, I felt like she etched out each round pretty clearly on her side, but that's my eyes versus the judges or whatever. And so Piera, I feel like if she sticks to the same game plan, just mix using her grappling to open up her strikes, and because she does have the stronger hands between her and Sam, I feel like she can probably etch out a decision. She seemed like she could get a finish when we talked to her, so I'd love to see that.
Yeah, she definitely seems like she's hungry to get the finish. She wants that paycheck, that extra paycheck. Um, yeah, I actually, when I rewatched their first fight a couple days ago, I I thought that Piera fought extremely intelligently. Um, she did what she had to. She clearly has the wrestling edge. She clearly has the power edge. Um, and Sam Hughes, she's dangerous off her back. She has a good submission game. On the feet, I wouldn't say she's a huge danger. She does throw decent volume. She's gonna throw some nice combos. But I just think that with Piera, I think that the power difference, if Sam Hughes decides to be more aggressive this time and try to take the first couple of rounds, I think she's going to walk into something. She's going to get hurt. And that's going to be the perfect time for Piera to capitalize, take her down, um, hit her with some big shots. And I can see Piera, possibly winning by KO, TKO. But I'm going to say they're both going to fight very aggressive round one, round two. And I can see Piera taking this by decision. I would say that's probably the most likely. Uh, but I'm excited for this fight. I think
Yeah,
it's
for
a
sure.
it's a good it's a good start to the card, and good luck to Piera Rodriguez. All right, let
Hello,
me
Pierre.
just
How you
do this
doing?
real quick.
I'm very good, and you?
We're chilling. Thank you for coming on the show. Glad to have you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of
No
course,
problem.
you are our first female fighter, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, nice.
Honor
Hopefully,
to have you.
yeah, hopefully, travel and everything has been well.
I live here in Vegas, so I didn't
Okay,
have to travel for this one.
great. And you're training at Extreme Couture now, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, awesome. You want to go ahead and start, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, just to start with the generic one, the personality one, what originally got you in MMA, and what made you realize that you could make a career out of
So I didn't thought I could make a career on it because I come from Venezuela. It's like very rare to find someone who likes mixed martial arts. When I was growing up, so I wanted to. Actually I wanted to be a doctor when I was a kid. I had no intentions of this, but then I started growing up. I was a little bit curious. I like sports, and then I studied psychology. And during my studies of psychology in the university, someone invited me for a boxing gym. And then I started doing boxing more, to release the stress, and just let's see how it goes. And then I started liking it. Then I started getting into boxing fights. And then one thing came to
all,
another. And then I
all
got
uphill
into
from
this one.
there?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. So, as you had mentioned, Venezuela, it's kind of not every day that someone is going into and like, I want to be an MMA fighter. Just last weekend, you had Alberto Montes. He got a huge submission win. How does that make you feel whenever you see Venezuelan fighters making their mark in the UFC and having these big moments? And does that inspire you to go and chase moments like those of your own?
Absolutely. I mean, like as a Venezuelan, I know how hard it is to make it to the UFC coming from Venezuela. It's not the same from the people who, have Venezuelan parents and live in other places. It's not the same, but like building a career in Venezuela for martial arts is very, very hard. So when I see people like that, I'm always like, I admire them and I respect them so much, and I'm trying to help people from Venezuela to to follow our steps and to build a career, even though the situation is not the best, but I know we have a lot of good capacities. I know we have some talent there, so it's always a big excitement for me that to see someone with my own flag on the UFC cards.
Absolutely.
Right. So now that you've had some time in the UFC, you fought some high level opponents. Where do you feel that you've evolved since your first fight in the UFC?
I think I evolved so much in every area. I mean, like I always had very heavy hands for my weight division, so that makes me a little bit different since the beginning. But now, once you start facing like harder opponents, tougher opponents, is always you always need to build new things. So I start adding a few years ago. I start adding more wrestling into it, and now I've been working so much on my jiu-jitsu, on the transitions in between the strike and the wrestling, the transitions in between the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu. So I think I'm a way more solid right now, and I think I developed so much in the mixed martial arts game completely. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start pushing a little bit more myself to finish fights in the UFC now.
Great, great.
Absolutely. I think that you're stringing things together really well. You're mixing up your martial arts very well. Speaking back to, as you mentioned, being at Team Extreme Couture, you have a lot of championship experience, a lot of good heads in that room. How has that helped you prepare for this fight and this training camp going into it?
So I moved to Vegas because I knew I was gonna have more opportunities to fight, to fight more often and to like train with higher level fighters and stuff. So I make my decision and I moved to Vegas and I start training at Extreme Couture because they have so many fighters there. And it's very important for me to find good training partners because I'm a smoker and it's not easy for me to find like I always say heavyweights and straw weights are very hard to find training partners. So I needed to find more group of people, more sparrings, and Extreme Couture gave me that, give me guidance, give me good coaches. And I keep some coaches from other places that I've been because I travel a lot. So I bring them to Vegas when I have a fight or once in a while because I don't like to disconnect myself completely from my roots. I love my coaches from the beginning, so I always try to find a balance in between growing up and keeping my roots with me, so lately I've been doing that and I think it's great. I think it's perfect because now I got my whole team from Spain, from California, from Las Vegas. Everybody's putting a little bit. There's people from Venezuela, there's people from Colombia helping me, so it's amazing. We're a big team and a very united team.
I love to hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Talking about balance. So obviously, fighting in the UFC extremely stressful. It's the biggest stage in combat sports. Obviously, it's physically and mentally taxing. But what are some things you like to do when you're outside of camp that just kind of relax you and let you blow off some of that stress?
So I don't do drugs. So I just like to have a cup of wine once in a while with my friends, watch a movie. I'm a very chill person. I like to go to concerts. I love music. So I used to play the guitar way before when I was a teenager. So I love music. I really enjoy music, and I try to stay away from the craziness of party and stuff. I just like to more to like calm vibes, more like go to the beach and stuff like that. That's my vibe when I'm not
Nice.
training for a fight.
Yeah.
Awesome. Keeping a clear mind.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like I have so much violence in my daily life that when I have a free time, for me it's like, oh, I don't want to get drunk and party. I just want to relax, go to a beach, enjoy the weather, just calm.
Of course.
Absolutely. So, this being a rematch and everything, that can feel pretty repetitive trying to, or it can sometimes work in your favor. Do you feel like it's a nuisance having to comb back over and try and find new holes in the game, or something that you didn't necessarily capitalize on in the first fight, or do you think you can stick to your elements that won you in the first fight and get the job done again?
So for the first fight, I was in a very different position than right now. I know Sam is tough and she's been developing herself like me, but I think I was in a very different position when we first fought. That was my second fight in the UFC. So I was undefeated. I was trying to keep my zero on the record. I was trying to keep my place in the business, in the company. So I didn't want to risk so much. I was a little bit more, I don't know, like uh trying to set up my life in the UFC. And now I'm in a way different position. I've been here for a while. I just want to finish. I just want to, like show the level that I got. And now I don't have that, that mindset of like, I don't want to risk this. I don't want to risk that. I'm going 100% now. So she's gonna definitely feel another type of opponent in front of her face.
Well, definitely love hearing that. And as you did mention, Sam Hughes, she has developed a lot over the past couple of fights. She has a lot of momentum going for her. Would you like to go out there and steal that momentum? Put a stamp on this one between the rivalry.
I mean, I didn't want it to take her momentum, but she was the one who wanted a rematch. So now she's gonna have to deal with that. So
That's
I
funny.
think she's one of the most respectful ones that I have fought in the UFC. I like that she doesn't go so crazy on social media, trash talk and stuff like that. So I respect her a lot. But she's the one who wanted the rematch because she felt like she didn't do enough on the first one. So imagine I already win on her, like trying to don't risk so much. So I'm like, okay, you want a rematch? Let's fucking go.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Of course. So obviously, now that the UFC has this Paramount deal, bonuses have increased. Everybody's kind of gunning for that finish bonus as well. Um, what are some of your goals for the rest of 2026?
Well, of course, more money, but I got some bills to pay. But also, I just wanna fight more often. I really like to stay a little bit more active. And I wanna get into the top 15 division. Because I've been out of the ranking, and I feel like I've been having like very tough opponents, but I haven't get into the rankings. So I wanna get in the rankings, and yeah, just start like finishing fights because of the bonus and because I'm ready for it. And
Mhm.
just that, develop myself in the strawweight division.
Love to hear it.
Absolutely.
And fighting at this level, obviously, there's a lot that you have to sacrifice. When you look at everything that you've had to give up so far in your career and some of those, tough times that you've had to push through, what's been the hardest part of that journey?
Well, I think having to be far away from my family is always going to be something hard for me because I'm a very familiar person, and I always miss them so much, and I always try to visit them. And because of the situation of my country, they have to move to different places, so it's not easy to get all reunited together again. But I hope one day I can be like Conor McGregor and have so much money that I can just bring them all together in the same place and just all live together again. Yeah, I love my family and I miss them a lot. I will see them once in a while, but it's not easy for me to be always traveling and far away from them. And yeah, and my dog, she's part of my family, so
Mhm.
I miss my dog a lot. But it is what it is, and also this career give me so much. I have traveled to so many other places. I have met other different cultures, and I grow up so much as a human being that um there's always something to sacrifice. You cannot reach like amazing things without doing any sacrifice, so yeah, I think I have done some sacrifice, but not as much as other people, so we good.
Great, great. I just have two more questions. So I like to ask fighters these because everybody always has like a dream. Obviously, everybody wants to be a champion at some point in their career. But one of the things that I like to ask is when you go to get your first UFC main event, who would you like to fight?
Main event. Mm, wow. I think Zhang Wei Li would be, the top strawweight that she's still active, and she's a legend alive, and I can fight with her one day. So that would push myself a lot to get
Mhm.
a fight with her. So I think she's still higher than my level right now, but I know I can do it. In a few years I can do it. So that would be very motivating for me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that fight. Um, and next, where would you like that fight to take place?
Well, I don't mind so much because, like I always say, for me is absolutely the same if you put me in a big stadium or if you put me in my backyard for a
Mhm.
fight. It's the same because I come from the bottom. So for me, a fight is a fight. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm gonna grab my tools and get ready. So, but of course, always the Florida vibes are more like Latinos.
Miami
You
card.
feel, yeah, Miami. You feel the energy, So I would like that. I would really like that.
Great, great. Yeah, most people, when I ask that question, they always say like their home country or something like that. But that's interesting. I like that you picked Miami. That's a great location. Every
I
part
still
that I've ever
cannot.
been to.
I still cannot pick up my country because it's very unreal right now. But
Mhm.
maybe in a few years, But let's see. Let's see. I wish one day can be my country, but we have a lot of work to do.
Of course. You have anything else, Zach?
Uh, so just one last one. Hypothetically, if you haven't thought of do you have a call out in mind for if you get the win?
I have a few names on the top 15. Not one specific, but I have like four names that I've been chasing their heads. So whoever falls, I'm gonna be there. I'm trying to keep my weight, very good on a very good level. So if anything falls, for one of these four girls that I've been, following her steps, I'm gonna be there to take the advantage. Yeah.
I love hearing that. I feel like a lot of times people get the microphone and they have like a very good opportunity to go ahead and lay their career out for them instead of someone else picking it. And, they don't. And so, I always love hearing someone else's at least put thought into it or whatnot. And
I'm
definitely
gonna
was
say
just
it in the
curious
fight.
about,
These four names, I'm gonna say it in the fight. So be
I'm ready.
ready, because
Love it.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for your time, Piera. We look forward to the fight on Saturday. Hopefully you get the
Absolutely.
win, and we'll be rooting for you. We appreciate you.
thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the
All
time.
Thank
right.
you so
Of
much. Have a
course.
great day.
Good luck.
You too. Bye.
All right, moving on. We have Luan Lacerda versus Hetcher Sosa. What do you think about this matchup?
Um, I mean, we have Sosa coming in off Contender Series. Luan, he had a bit of a rough start. He lost to Stamen and Blackshear, both of those. I mean, I get it. I'd lose to them. I feel like there's no shame in it. And he took a year off, comes back, he gets a submission win over Simon Oliveira. I like to think maybe he's made the changes needed to find success at the UFC level. and that hacker, he's probably gonna have a not great welcome to the UFC.
Yeah.
I could see
I
potentially submission.
yeah, I don't know if it'll be submission because Lacerda does have very good grappling. He has good defense. Um, I think the problem here is the gas tank. I think that Hedger Sosa, he puts a very high pace in all of his fights. I think that Hetcher has the advantage on the feet. He's got a good chin, so even if he does eat any shots, I think that he's going to be fine. I think that he's going to control the pace of this fight. I think that he's going to be able to take over, and I can see him getting a stoppage here by TKO. But if the pace uh, affects him as much as it will Lacerda, I wouldn't be surprised if, the third round, both these guys are gassed and it's a bit slower and then he wins by decision. But I do like the finish here. I do think that Hetrisosa wins this by finish.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next one. We have Bia Mesquita versus Montse Rendon. What do you think about this one?
I think probably Mesquita decision. I think she'll have the grappling advantage. That'll just lead to a lot of control time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably ineffective, like striking. It's probably just gonna be a lot of submission hunting. It's gonna feel like Raul Rosas on Rob Font. But I like to think that Rendon is going to be privy to her game plan and is probably at least trained enough to not get submitted. But I see a lot of control time getting racked up for Mesquita.
Yeah. I honestly, I feel like Rendon has faced tougher competition. Um, the problem with why I'm hesitant to pick Rendon in this matchup is she's 36 years old and she only has 8 professional fights. A lot of inactivity, a lot of time off in between some of those fights, and obviously, she ruined Alice Pereira's you know debut in the UFC. There was a lot of hype behind Alice before she came over to the promotion, and I think that if Bia can't take Rendon down, which I like when a fighter has a height advantage and is known for having, pretty good wrestling, I like her chances here. I think that she will be able to defend any takedown attempts that Mesquita throws at her. And I think on the feet, Rendon actually is going to be better. I think that Rendon is going to throw more volume. I think that she's going to be more effective with her striking. And I do like her by decision. The only problem, like I said, is that she's 36. I don't know why she has so much time off in between fights. I don't know if it's injuries.
Well, Bia's 34, so I mean, that's still pretty,
Yeah, but I feel like Bia has taken less damage. She's had more favorable matchups. She hasn't had very difficult tests yet, whereas I feel like Rendon has had a little bit of that. And honestly, I like Rendon at a plus. What is she? Plus 300, plus 400.
That's what I was just looking, dude. Rendon's a plus 470.
Yeah,
So it's like
at plus 470.
he's probably definitely flying under the radar for that matchup.
At plus 470, you just beat a very hot prospect. Like, I like Rendon in this spot. Obviously, she could go out there and get submitted in round 1 or something, but I would take the dog shot here. Women's MMA, a lot of the time,
for sure.
is close. It's always competitive. The skill levels are pretty equal. I'm gonna say
that's the value play for this fight for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Montse Rendon is able to defend the takedowns and does enough on the feet to win a decision.
Right on. Excellent.
All right, cool. Next fight we have. Oh, there we go. Next fight we have Brad Tavares versus Eric Anders. I'll start off with this one. I'm a little upset. I like Eric
No one
Anders.
asked for this fight.
No, not even that. I like this fight actually. I just think that you know, I thought I had a good relationship with Eric Anders. Talked to him a few times. Reached out for an interview. Left on red. But all that aside, on a more serious note, I think that Brad Tavares has made some very good adjustments lately. I think that he's fighting a lot smarter. Um, Training at Extreme Couture, head coach Eric Nixick. I feel like Eric is one of the sharpest minds as far as MMA goes, and he's coming up with great game plans for these guys. And I think that the way that they approach fighting is more like a traditional competition. They look at it as try to get hit as least as possible and outscore your opponent. Um, Brad Tavares, I think, we've seen a couple of decisions lately. I think that this is a spot where he can get a finish. I think that he's going to have the speed advantage. He definitely has the cardio advantage. And if he wants, he can take down Eric Anders and hold him there for all 3 rounds. Do I see that happening? Maybe late. I can see that in maybe like the second half of the second round or third round. Once he's banked the first or second round, he just decides, fuck it, let's take the path of least resistance, take down Eric Anders, and hold him, But that's if Eric Anders survives on the feet in the first and second round. And I think that Brad Tavares is going to clip him. I think that he's going to catch him. Maybe the first round, they get a feel for each other. But I think the second round, he ups the pressure. He's going to bombard Eric Anders with shots. And I see Brad Tavares by KO or TKO here.
That's quite the take. I initially was thinking Brad Tavares decision. I don't know. I kind of pick flipped a little. I feel like Anders, I feel like Tavares can be a bit like a punching bag at times, and that makes him lose decisions sometimes. Like he can get in his own head, and I feel like Eric Anders he has the power advantage, and Tavares he could get finished potentially in the fight that I was seeing. I could see Anders getting a KO. But I could see just potentially early in the fight some adversity Tavares way, and then he's like in his head the rest of the fight. But I don't see Anders hanging, maintaining that late fight. So I don't know. You're making me rethink it because I did like Tavares at first. I did see. So it's interesting to me that you do see a decision here for him, or not a decision, a finish rather. Because I don't know. I feel like that's bread and butter with Brad Tavares, at least as of lately. That's all I ever remember him with, is just being a decision machine if he is winning them.
Well, yeah, but that's in part because he banks the first and second round, and then why take an unnecessary risk in the third round when you can secure the victory, Like, I know a lot of these people, a lot of these fans are like, no, we want wars. We want to see dudes get knocked out. But at the same time, like, Tavares at one point was at risk for being cut, and why not take the victories? I mean, he does.
No, I get it.
Exchanges.
His last finish was 2018.
Yeah,
that's rough, man.
But there's been fights where he's been close to getting a finish. Like, he's had some banger fights, but again, the win is the most important thing here. Like,
hey, I would love it. I'd love to see Brad Tavares not even KO. I want to see him get a buggy choke.
I don't think he's gonna sub Eric Anders. I've seen a lot of Eric Anders grappling footage. Eric Anders is actually pretty good. He's got pretty good jiu-jitsu. I mean, obviously he's not like super dangerous when it comes to the grappling, but I think he'll be fine. He'll be able to defend anything that Brad Tavares throws up.
Tavares toe hold not on the bingo card. Got it.
I think it's crazy that you said Eric Anders KO, because Eric Anders throws in slow motion, respectfully. Like, Brad Tavares is so much quicker than Eric.
No, he's cleaner. He's cleaner.
Yeah.
That's why I felt like I thought Brad Tavares' decision at first, but it's like, I don't know. I think back to like Robert Whitaker whenever he says he fought Dricus, and he was like, dude, he fought so slow, and then he hit me. It's not necessarily the speed, it's the timing. So I don't know. Be interesting. It's like Battle of the Unks, though.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But enough of that fight. Let's move on. We have Balaji Oki versus Manuel Sosa. How do you think this goes?
I think there's a value on Bellagioki. Let me see. I'm pretty sure he's the underdog. Yeah. I think there's a lot of value there. I think he has the power, and this is Sosa coming off of this is making his UFC debut. He came off of a late knockout off the Contender Series. I just don't I see Bellagioki. He's been there, done that. He's already had his trials, and he's in a spot where he needs a KO. I feel like, that he's coming off a knockout loss to Montel Jones and a submission loss to Chris Duncan, but he had clipped Chris Duncan, so it's like, that submission threat's not really going to be there for Sosa. So I feel like he's Bellagioki money is pretty live, or KO is pretty live.
I disagree. I'm on the opposite side. Balaji has a terrible gas tank. He throws so hard that after the first round, he's pretty much dead and not worth a fuck. And I hate to shit on the guy, but anytime he faces somebody who's like decent level of competition, he goes out there and acts like he's going to steamroll him. And then he gets exposed by having such a shitty gas tank. And fun fact, Sosa is the only guy to knock out Mauricio Hufi. So I think Sosa is going to land on the chin early while Oki is being extremely aggressive and a bit reckless. And I think that Sosa is going to have a fucking amazing debut here. And he's going to win over a decent name. Like Balaji Oki, all respect to him. I mean, he is exciting to watch fight. He puts on entertaining fights. But like I said, he's too reckless. He gets caught. And I don't know if Sosa will sub him. Maybe he does. Maybe, Oki gasses out, shoots for the legs, and gets caught in something. But I can see him landing on the chin and putting him out, honestly.
I mean, knock out Hoofy. I mean, you knock out anyone.
Yeah. But moving on, we have Elijah Smith versus Su Young Yu. I'll start off on this one. I like Su Young Yu. I like Elijah Smith. But in this matchup, my worry for you is the Asian market. They don't have a lot of great wrestlers. And Elijah Smith is a very good wrestler. I don't think he's going to get submitted by you. And I just feel like Yu is going to try to use his wrestling against Elijah Smith here like he did against AJ Cunningham. And I just don't see it working out for him. I think that Elijah is going to be the better wrestler. I think that Elijah has pretty good striking. And I see Yu gassing out maybe, from scrambles or, taking bad shots. And I can just see Elijah Smith taking over in this fight. So my pick's going to be Elijah Smith. I think he gets either a late KO or a decision win. But what are your thoughts on this?
No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I feel for sure that this is Smith's fight to win. I feel like that he is very good wrestling. They're definitely good enough to keep it in the striking, which is where he's going to want to keep it. He's got the big reach advantage. He's got the cleaner striking. He's got the power advantage. I think that knockout's live, but it could go decision.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on. We have Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplund. What are your thoughts on this one?
I like Asplund. I think Petrino, he's very clean. He's very good. He's just, he's had those moments where, he's shown that quit. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Asplund, he's just kind of, I feel like he's got more of that dog in him,
Yeah, I like Asplund. I like Asplund here because I feel like he's going to out-volume Petrino. The only worry I have being on the Asplin side is Petrino is strong. He has great grappling, and I haven't really seen anything from Asplin to show that like he can defend the takedown. And what is he gonna do off his back? He's not a
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu
Denzel
guy.
Freeman submitted him.
Yeah, he's not a jiu-jitsu guy. He doesn't have great wrestling. I think that Petrino, that's his path to victory here, is take Steven down, try to wear on the gas tank a bit, and maybe catch him in a submission. Um, I like Steven Asplin, and I'm hoping that he wins this fight because he is an exciting heavyweight. I love how much volume he throws. I just think that he's gonna have a tough day at the office because Petrino is built like a fucking Mack truck, and I know that the moment he gets one of those legs, he's gonna take Steven Asplin down, and I think it might be a long night. So
Yeah, that's clear cut advantage for Petrino in the grappling.
yeah, so I hope that Steven Asplin wins. I'm rooting for him, but my pick's gonna be Vitor Petrino. Moving on,
Makes sense.
we have Chris Curtis versus Miktabek Orolbai. Chris Curtis, man, his fights are kind of hard to predict at times because sometimes he comes out there and looks really good. He has decent fight IQ at times, and sometimes it's like, I don't know, man. It's strange. Miktabek Orolbai, obviously he's going to throw heavy shots so that he can get the takedown. I think Chris Curtis, he has a lot of experience. He's definitely fought, really high level wrestlers before. I don't know what to make of this, man, because I want to say Orolbai is going to take him down and steamroll him, but at the same time, if he can't do that and Orolbai gasses, I can see Chris Curtis taking over. I feel like, he's got a little bit more size than Orolbai does. But Orolbai is like the Terminator. This guy doesn't stop coming. He just keeps fucking charging forward, and like you can't put him away. And I don't know, man. Gun to my head, I'd have to say Orolbai, but I honestly think Chris Curtis might be able to pull it off. He might be able to. I think that it just all depends how that first and second round goes. I think that if Orolbai is able to take him down, it's going to be an easy Orolbai win. But if he's not able to take him down, I could see Chris Curtis taking over. So, what are your thoughts on it?
I think Chris Curtis, he's only I like Chris Curtis. He has clean boxing. And I feel like at times he seems awesome. That's because he always rises to just enough to barely lose, in my eyes. It's like I've seen him look awesome against Brendan Allen. That Mark Barriott fight, he won, but, that was close. That was, they were throwing. And I don't know. He lacks the big moments also, much like his teammate Sean Strickland, So it's like, I don't know if it's an extreme couture thing or maybe it's just a coincidence. I think he could he's a big test for Orolbai. If he can't get the grappling going, then it could be a problem. But I could also, I could see him getting the knockout. If he, before gassing, throws, connects with a big shot, definitely see Orolbai getting a knockout.
Yeah. About the extreme couture thing, it's definitely the gym. Sean Strickland, Brad Tavares, like I was saying earlier, they all fight the same way. It's Eric Nixick's, it's like his mission statement. He knows how to tell his fighters or how to train his fighters to win, point fighting. And it works in certain matchups, and then in others it doesn't. But I think this is one of those matchups where it will work. I think that Chris Curtis is going to try to do more. He's going to try to be more busy on the feet, and he's going to try to outstrike Orolbai, which I do think he can do. It's just going to be defending those takedowns from Orolbai, Just stay off your back, circle around like how Sean Strickland did against Fluffy, and I think that Chris Curtis can win this fight. But I'm excited to see, how it goes, because I'm torn between the two. Obviously, I think Orbai is a pretty decent favorite, right?
I think plus 200 or so last I seen. Uh,
Oh, he's a 2-1 underdog?
Oralby?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I could look it up real quick.
Yeah, look it up.
I'm pretty sure Orbai is the favorite, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You
Did I say
plus
plus 200? Oh, my
Yeah.
fault.
He is.
Yeah, minus 340.
Yep, minus 340. So yeah, Chris Curtis is almost 3-1 underdog. I mean, I think Chris Curtis is going to win a round. I would say he wins a round, probably the third round. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's a good fight. It's a good matchup. Let's move on.
For sure.
We have Bruno Silva versus Charles Johnson. How do you think this fight goes?
I think Charles Johnson, he's the favorite right now. I think Bruno Silva, he could be live for a finish. He's got great grappling, submission threats. Charles, he's got the wrestling edge. But Bruno, he can crack. And I think that, Charles, he's coming back fairly quick after a knockout. And granted, it wasn't like he didn't get his face fucking pounded in the hamburger helper or nothing, but that's still pretty quick, I feel like, January. And Charles Johnson, he can beat anyone, but he can lose to anyone. I feel like this could be Bruno's fight to win.
Okay. I'm on the Charles Johnson side here. I think that Charles Johnson is, he obviously he has a reach advantage. He has a significant height advantage. And I feel like that's kind of what gave him the edge in the Van fight, in the Kavanaugh fight. Like, granted, he was losing in those fights up until he found the KO. But the problem is he throws great combos. He's got great cardio. And he's long. I think he's going to touch Bruno Silva because Bruno Silva is another Oki type fighter. Like, he's very aggressive. He likes to push forward, but that's how he loses his fights. He gets caught. I think Charles Johnson is going to find the chin here, and I think Charles Johnson puts him away. Maybe Charles faces some adversity early, but Bruno Silva's also been taking a lot of beatings lately, so I'm on the Charles Johnson side. I like Charles Johnson. He's a cool dude. I've met him before. I'm rocking with Charles Johnson here.
I think it's definitely going to be a good fight. I think with the Bruno Silva, he has had 2 knockout losses before his last submission win, but those Manel Kopp and Josh Van, it's like I can't hold those against him. I feel like, so it's like I'm definitely oh man, cat spazzing out. But sorry about that. Charles Johnson knockout's very live, especially late fight. I feel like, round 3 Ige, round 3 Charles Johnson, the same aura. It's like he knows whenever he needs to turn the fight on to try and potentially win a fight that he's losing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on. We have Omar Sy versus Ion Cutelaba. How do you think this fight goes?
I think Umar Sy, this is his fight to win. Iwan, he's definitely made a career off of exposing people that, weren't ready. But I think Umar Sy, he think he could potentially get the submission. No, I'm not gonna say submission anymore. Knockout. I'm gonna say knockout.
Just for that, he's gonna get the submission.
Probably, dude.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that C definitely has the advantages and the grappling. Even though Cutelaba has been wrestling a lot lately, in a lot of his fights, he's been fighting a lot smarter. He's not as reckless anymore. He seems to be a lot more measured now. He's kind of he's worked some of those early problems that he had out, and I just think that this is a matchup where he can't really use those new skills that he's finally developed. because C is obviously a good grappler.
Elon's only 32. That's so nuts. I'm sorry to
Yeah,
cut you off. That blew my
no, you're
mind.
good. He's got a size advantage. Obviously, like he's got a reach advantage. I just think that he's not going to be able to wrestle C. C is probably going to hit a little harder. My only problem with C is that he's slow. Like the dude throws in slow motion as well. I mean, it's 205. It's kind of expected. But Kudalaba has fast hands. Like Kudalaba does have some quick hands. He has some good combos. I just unless he just absolutely pressures C early and catches him, then maybe. But I think if
I
these
don't see
dudes
it
fight,
happening. Yeah.
yeah, I think if these dudes fight 10 times, Umar C wins at least 8 of those 10. So I'm gonna go with C. I'm gonna go by probably finish. I could see. Let's see. You said KO.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say submission, just to be on the other side. I'm gonna say submission, but yeah, I like this fight. It should be. It should hopefully be a banger. But moving on, we have Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick. Poor Harry, man. He got a shot in the UFC against a. It was a tough fight, man. Like he doesn't usually fight. What was that at 155? His last fight.
Yeah.
Fernandez.
Cal Fernandez.
Yeah, he doesn't usually fight at 155. He's a 145er. Obviously, when the UFC calls, you take what they give you. He's looked great at Cage Warriors. Him and his brother are both really high IQ fighters. And I just think that Rahiki is so green still, like his Contender Series fight was a banger, but not for the right reasons. Like,
Yeah.
he was getting smashed. Then he started smashing the other kid, and it was just like that style is fun to watch, but there's no longevity in it. Harry Hardwick is the complete opposite of that. Harry Hardwick's not going to get into a barn burner. He's not going to stand there in the middle and swing wildly and let you counter on him. He's going to fight with a very strategic game plan. He's going to attack the legs. He's going to use some of his grappling to take, some of that gas out of your tank. And, he has more experience. I think that Harry Hardwick could edge a decision here. I know Rahiki is kind of like I wouldn't say highly touted prospect, but a lot of people were hype on him when he was coming into the Contender Series. So I know there is some hype still behind him, just because of the way he fights. But I'm looking for Harry Hardwick to get surgical here and do everything perfectly, and show that like the first fight at 155 was a fluke, that he has more skills, and I see him winning this. What are your thoughts?
I think he has a path to victory for sure. Whenever I first was outside looking in, it took me a minute to like kind of remember who Marwan was. And then I was like, oh yeah, it was this fight. He faced adversity, and that's good, but I don't know. Harry's got more experience that could prove valuable, but I mean, Marwan is good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I definitely think we have a good fight on our hands.
I think Harry. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I just, it's hard to judge Harry off that fight with Cal, because Cal, he looked awesome, dude. So it's like you can't take it away from him and discredit Harry. Like maybe he's just that good, or Fernandez was, just he saw a hole in his leg kicks, because it was extremely effective. I don't know. I'm definitely intrigued by this fight. I wouldn't say I'm the most confident in Marwan, but just outside looking in, I would pick him.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of recency bias. Harry has faced the tougher comp at Cage Warriors. He's fought way better
He's a
guys
champion.
than who Rahiki fought in the regional scene. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm on the other side here. I think Harry Hardwick does enough to get it done, but should be a good fight. Should be entertaining. Now, this fight I'm looking extremely forward to. We have Jose
Yeah.
Delgado versus Andre Touchy-Feely. I love watching Jose Delgado fight. I met him in New Jersey. He's a super friendly guy. He's really chill. He's very stoic. And he takes that into his fights. Like his fighting style, he's very surgical. He's got great stand-up. He's got good grappling. And Andre Feely, he's looked rough, you know, like the guy's been around for a long time. He's got fucking 35 fights. The problem is his chin. Like, I can't sugarcoat it. Jose Delgado hits like a truck. His striking is very clean. He's very accurate. I just think that he's going to touch Andre Feely, no pun intended. But I think he's going to put him out, man. I think this is another highlight reel KO for Delgado. What are your thoughts?
100%. It's I mean, Andre's very hittable.
Yeah.
You know, it's he absorbs a lot of strikes, and Jose is not the guy you want to absorb strikes from. And I don't know, I love like his knees too. You know, his knees up the middle, very good. I don't know, you know, he's more of a volume striker too, so it's like it's not even like Jose's going to respect his power coming back. You know, I can see it potentially early.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think it'll probably be a quick night for Jose Delgado. Let's move on. We have Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. This was supposed to take place, what was it, like a month or two ago? Obviously, the fight got canceled. I'm going back and forth here because in the original matchup before it was canceled, I was actually on the Amanda Lemos side. I was confident that Amanda was going to be able to defend well enough in the grappling that on the feet, I think Amanda Lemos has a clear advantage. I think she's a lot slicker. She's got more power than Jillian. The problem is if Jillian takes her down, she's going to have an extremely rough night. And she's got 3 rounds to do it. I'd like to think that Amanda's going to go to the body. She's going to maybe piece up Jillian. And, you know, Jillian, she's been on a tear. She's looked great working with Dean Thomas. I think that they've worked on a lot of her weaknesses. You know, she does look a lot better on the feet now. I'm just scared, man. That power that Amanda Lemos has in this division, like, I think Amanda Lemos is going to be able to get it done. And I'm going to stick with my original pick. I'm going to go with Amanda Lemos to get it done by KO. I just think that when she defends the takedowns, Jillian is going to be like a deer in headlights. She's going to get frozen on the feet, and I think she's going to eat some big shots. Maybe she's tough enough to survive, and, you know, Amanda Lemos wins by decision. Or maybe I'm completely wrong, and Jillian takes her down in the first round and makes it look easy. But what are your thoughts?
I think I don't know, it feels like not quite to the, like, they don't have the degree that Lemos has, but this feels like the Jocelyn Edwards and Nora Cornell fight that we just broke down. You got one woman whose trajectory has just been looking awesome lately. Like, yeah, Lemos busted out a young Lucindo, but other than that, she's been trading wins for losses. Her trajectory hasn't looked the greatest. I think Jillian, she's gonna probably control time her way to a decision. Dern didn't finish Lemos, so I don't see the. And that, I mean, I'm saying I don't see a submission finish, but now it's going to happen. But I see just Jillian having the elite grappling, and once it gets started, the power advantage is for sure on the side of Lemos. But I think after a round of grappling, that power threat goes away significantly, and she won't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah, I agree there. I don't know. I think I'm just looking past the recency bias with Jillian. You know, like her last couple of wins, she's gotten 2 decisions and a finish. But like Marina Rodriguez, virtually no takedown defense, virtually no grappling defense. Luana Pinheiro, same shit. Michelle Waterson Gomez,
She's old,
washed. Like, it's like, yeah, Jillian's on a tear, but who's she doing this to? Look at Amanda Lemos. She's fighting fucking Tatiana Suarez, one of the best wrestlers in the division. She's fighting Yasmin Lucindo, who also has very clean striking, who she beat. Then she's fighting Verna, who really slick grappling and decent fucking striking. And then she beats Mackenzie Dern by decision. So I got to go with Amanda Lemos. I'm okay with being wrong, but I'm excited. This is a good female fight. I think this is going to be an entertaining one. But let's move on to the main event. We have Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. I think that it's kind of wild having Kevin as a 5-1, almost 6-1 favorite.
Yeah.
We saw Josh Emmett go to decision with Ilya Topuria. Like, the guy can take punches. He got finished by what's his name? Yusuf Zalal. But
Submission. That's the only way you get him out of there.
Yeah, it was a clean ass, submission, and I don't think Kevin is going to be able to do that to Josh Emmett. Kevin's going to want to stand there and strike, maybe, clinch up and hold him against the fence a bit, but I just think that Josh Emmett, he's going to have some moments in this fight. I think that Giga, that body kick that he was landing on Kevin was brutal, and it seemed like it was kind of getting to Kevin, but obviously he stayed composed. He landed the big shot that he needed to. I just don't think he should be this heavy of a favorite, I like Josh Emmett, but I do think Kevin is going to pull this off by decision. I think it's going to be just 5-round war. I think Josh Emmett will probably win a round. But yeah, how do you see this going?
I mean, I remember looking at the Giga fight and I was like, God, Kevin's like a 3-1 favorite. Like, that's kind of crazy over Giga. This is a big test for him, but then he goes and knocks him out. Cool. Like, so it's like, all right, well, I guess that kind of starts to explain why you'd be a favorite in your next fight against old Josh Emmett, but absolutely, you're hitting the nail on the head. That this is, a UFC veteran that's been in a lot of main events at this point now. He's not too many fights removed from fighting for the interim belt and for featherweight. It's that man can crack. I think Kevin Vallejos just needs to stay composed and absolutely, like you said, try and work for a decision. Try and do like Lerone Murphy did. Just stick and move, man. He's going to be throwing bombs at you, and you do not want to be in the way of that.
Yeah, 100%. It's a banger fight, though. I'm excited for it. It's a good
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, that is this weekend's card. Let's get into some MMA news. The UFC White House card. Everybody's talking about it. I feel like a lot of people got their expectations a bit high for this card. But I'm not mad at it. Obviously, Topuria Gaethje, big fight. A lot of people were upset that it wasn't Armin. We have Pereira versus Gane. There was rumors that it was going to be Pereira versus Jones. Don't know what happened there. O'Malley and Zahabi. I'm excited about that. I think that's a good fight. I think O'Malley is just going to outstrike him, probably KO him. Hoofy versus Chandler. Chandler finally got his matchup with Conor McGregor. I'm excited for him. We have Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. I was a bit surprised by Kyle Dawkins. Honestly, I think it's a strange fight, but they're both, at the same point in their career right now, I'd say, as far as like overcoming, a big loss or big losses. And whoever wins, obviously going to gain a bunch of hype and traction.
I was gonna say, how do you I feel like Dawkins lately he's been on a tear. I think he could potentially show some problems to Nickel, dude. Could you imagine that upset at the White House?
I think he has much better striking than Bo Nickel. Obviously, great jiu-jitsu as well. I just don't know if he's going to be able to deal with Bo Nickel's wrestling.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And then we have Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. I'm excited about that fight. I love Diego Lopez. Super exciting fights every time he's out, as long as he's not fighting Volkanovski. But that's a banger. I think, man. I think Lopez wins that, honestly. But Steve Garcia hits like a truck, so he's.
It's a huge opportunity for Garcia. I love Mean Machine, dude.
Yeah, he's gonna have to be on his P's and Q's, but it should be a banger. I'm content with the card. How do you feel about it overall?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I got to see more like how the rest of that month unfolds. Like if I feel like I'm losing a numbered event for this, then I'm not happy because it's only 6 fights. Or
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like that sucks. It being on Sunday's crazy too. But you know, especially because I'm pretty sure that's like Father's Day. But you know, I could be like, hey kids, leave me alone. I'm gonna watch fights all day for Father's Day.
I'm gonna be there, so obviously I probably won't be fucking invited into the actual space, but I'll be at like the little fucking either the Washington Memorial or the Lincoln. I'm excited to see what they have. I heard they're gonna have a bunch of shit going on the outside. There's gonna be a bunch of like booths and stuff like that, so that should be cool. And I'm definitely calling out of work on that Monday. I will not be
Yeah,
going
for
into
sure.
the office, so I'm looking forward
It
to
makes
it.
sense.
I'm glad that we finally have something local to my area because, dude, UFC hasn't came to DC since like 2020, so we were definitely overdue for some fights.
I
But
feel like Pereira versus Gon's kind of overlooked. Like that's a banger, dude.
yeah, for sure.
I
A lot of
think people are
people,
upset that it's just not John Jones.
yeah, they were, and they were also upset that Taporia is not fighting Armin Tsarukyan. But obviously, Justin Gaethje is now the interim champ, so that's the fight that the UFC kind of was forced to make after he won the belt. But speaking of Armin Tsarukyan, yesterday he had a grappling match with Muhammad Mokaev, and this is how it went.
Now he takes the back, but look at the high right hip. Oh, he's under the chin. Mokaev trying to get out, but he will not. He's done. Good night, noble adversary.
That was a beautiful transition right into the choke.
Choked him out, choked him to sleep. It was a pretty good grappling match. Mokaev, honestly, extremely impressive. Great defense, butterfly hooks. Like his hip dexterity is insane, and you know for the size difference, he held his own. That happened in like the last 20 seconds. So Armin, you know, he obviously had to work for the submission, but it's crazy to see Mokaev get choked unconscious.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I didn't watch it live while it was happening, but I remember waking up and seeing, you know, all the posts about Mokaev being, you know, technically submitted, and I was like, that's just crazy, you know, because he's, I don't know. And granted, his whole issue with the UFC allegedly is boring fighter or bad attitude, whatever the case may be. I thought he did do effective grappling, and he was very skilled. So, and you know, Armin is bigger, and he's very skilled in grappling too. So it's not totally the biggest surprise, but definitely like what, you know, shock
Yeah.
value.
Yeah, for sure. Armin's been on a tear, man. All these wrestling and grappling matches. You know, he's been doing a lot of things outside of the UFC. And Kamaru Usman on his podcast with Henry Cejudo, they were actually talking about his next matchup. Let's listen to that.
A little tip for our boy Armin Sorokyan because he seems like he's like begging for one of those opportunities that he can't buy.
Yeah, I think Armin's so interesting. This dude's like just killing side quests like all the time, right? He's doing the RAF matches, grappling matches, he's doing everything. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, he definitely deserves that title shot. I would like to see him versus the winner of Ilya and Gaethje.
How do you feel about that? Him fighting the winner?
I mean, I'm all for it. He just needs to keep his nose clean. Dude has a hot head, and it's just doing him more harm than good. Which I mean, it's crazy because usually that kind of like attitude and personality gains traction. Like Conor McGregor was throwing cans into crowds and stuff, and farting in people's faces, and you know, made him a legend. But you know, like I don't know, when Armin does it, he's punching fans, and he's like, you know, headbutting the other guy, the other side of your main event that you're about to do, and then pulling out of a main event the day of, or you know, it's just it adds up against you. But you got to stop holding it against him at some point. You know, he's done his due. He's the number one contender.
Yeah. Well, I have some breaking news for you, buddy.
Yeah,
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right, hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. All right, so I have some breaking news for you. This was just posted, and it might blow your mind a little bit. UFC 328. We have Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. We have Alexander Volkov versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Sean Brady versus Buckley. Obviously, that was already announced. Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Gustav, a.k.a. Anthony Smith. Bobby Green is ducking Chris Padilla, so he's fighting Jeremy Stevens instead. And then we have Atiba Gautier versus Ozzy Diaz.
Ozzy Diaz, what the fuck?
This is a banger card. This is a fucking great card. Like, I'm excited as shit for this. It's exciting. I think that obviously, you know, we kind of knew that the Chimaev and Strickland fight was in the works just with all the rumors and shit. But I'm excited. How do you think that fight goes?
I don't know, man. Like, I remember watching Khamzat, and he was one of the fighters that actually give me like goosebumps. I'd be like, oh my God, he's about to fight. But I just feel like he's lost a lot of that aura. And I'm not saying he's not dominant. He's not great. And he's not going to take Sean Strickland down. But I think Sean Strickland, he can probably pose some problems.
Yeah, for sure. I think the wrestling's going to be too much for Sean, honestly. It just depends on how fast he's able to get his striking off. I think that Khamzat is going to take him down and manhandle him. And if he gets on Sean's back, it's wraps early. If he full mounts Sean, it's wraps early. I think that Sean's only chance is to hope that he can defend long enough for Khamzat to gas. But the way that we've been seeing Khamzat lately, he's working with Coach Calvito. I think that his gas tank is good. I think he's fine. And I think that Chimaev makes light work of Sean Strickland. But that's a banger card. I'm excited for it. That's the show, guys. Hopefully our breakdowns, we're not going to be completely wrong on every fight. I think we're both on we're on a lot of opposite sides, or, you know, different methods of victory. So one of us is going to be right. One of us is going to be brutally wrong, but it's okay. That's the name of the game. That's it, man. You got anything else?
No, man. It's great getting to talk fights with you again, as always, you know?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, that's episode 5. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed the Piera Rodriguez interview, and we will see you next week for episode 6. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at UFC Pap, at UFC Zach, and we'll see you next time.
This is Corner Talk.